Hello everyone, Someone Bard here, and welcome to a new movie review. Well, after the success of Despicable Me, Illumination went on to make more movies, and while they weren't bad in my opinion, they were mainly meh. But 3 years after the first film, the studio decided to bring back the characters for a sequel, made by the same directors, same composer, and same cast with new additions. And it is called Despicable Me 2. When a lab in the Arctic is stolen by an unknown villain, the AVL, or the Anti-Villain League run by Silas Ramsbottom, hires Gru to find out who stole the lab. For it holds an experimental serum that turns a normal living thing into a big purple monster that attacks anyone and is indestructible. So assisted by Agent Lucy Wilde, she and Gru head to a huge mall, where the AVL suggests is where the villain and serum are located. And it's in this mall where they meet Eduardo Perez, who runs a Mexican restaurant across from the mall. But Gru believes that Eduardo is the one who stole the lab, for he knew him as the villain El Macho, who was thought to be dead. So Gru tries to convince Lucy and Ramsbottom that Eduardo is the criminal, yet they don't believe him. All the while, Dr. Nefario moves on to pursue a life as the villain's assistant again, the minions become stolen and have the serum ejected in, Margot falls in love with Eduardo's son, Antonio, Agnes wishes for a mother, and all three girls plus neighbor Julian try to get Gru to go out on a date. Much like the first film, there are plenty of good moments thrown in, and most of it is enjoyable. But there are some problems with it. First of all, the story is pretty jumbled. It has one too many side plots, with some of them dealing with love and romance, perhaps a little too much for its own good, and the villain's motivation, if any, is never explained. Why did he steal the lab? What is he going to do with the mutant minions? How come his son doesn't know of his plot? If it was explained, then I have clearly missed it. And the whole movie feels pretty rushed. Many moments do go by quickly, but they are easy to catch and follow. Once in a while the movie becomes forgettable, but it did leave quite a few moments that are enjoyable. But like the first film, it's not all funny, just enjoyable. The animation is better than the first film, and even more crazy this time. Yet only once did it look like stop-motion movements, but it's pretty rare. The characters are still the same, but there's also some new ones as well. There's Silas Ramsbottom, who's passable as the British leader of a secret organization. Eduardo El Macho Perez is pretty weak for not doing anything for me, as well as his son Antonio, who is very pointless, but gives Gru more reasons to hate Eduardo. But one new character I happen to like is Lucy Wilde. Even though the same actress already voiced Miss Hattie from the last film, it's refreshing to see her do a completely different character, and one that has more going for her. She's always prepared for anything, she can easily defend herself, and she's very energetic and, no pun intended, wild. So all the new characters are fine. I just wish they were more like Lucy though. And then Pharrell Williams returns, and even though the music and songs he did are reprised from the last film, there is one song he did for the film that is the most fun, and it's simply called Happy. Sure, the lyrics aren't the most memorable like the ones before, but the very upbeat tone and energy it has is good, even to appearing on radio stations. And the voice cast is still the same, but there's a few new ones to add, and they did pretty good. Kristen Wiig voices Lucy Wilde, Benjamin Bratt voices Eduardo Perez / El Macho, Steve Coogan voices Silas Ramsbottom, Moises Aries voices Antonio, Ken Jeong voices Floyd Eagleson, Nassim Parad voices Jillian, and Christian Shaw voices Shannon. As a whole, this movie is not too bad. The characters are good, the story is fine, and the animation is really out there. For a sequel to Illumination's first film, it's done pretty well and has many nice moments here and there. But some of the story isn't fully developed and is pretty rushed in that regard, and with its humor as well. Though I would like to prefer this one over the first film, but it's pretty hard to decide. Both have good characters, fine moments, and nice jokes. But until the third film comes out, I'll say that this one's close to being my favorite of the films, alongside the first one. So today, this movie we get a rating of 3 stars. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, support me on Patreon, and tune in next week for a new video.